Today we're going to talk about finding the GCF, which stands for the greatest common factor. Let's start with some vocabulary. What is a factor? Well, a factor is any number that you can multiply by another factor to make the product. So it goes like this. Factor times a factor equals the product. We've already talked about the product being the answer to a multiplication problem. The factors are the numbers that you are multiplying together. So if, for example, I say, find me the factors of 8. Well, if 8 is the product, what are the numbers you can multiply together to make 8? Well, 1 times 8 makes 8. So 1 and 8 are factors. 2 times 4 also equals 8. You can keep checking. 3 times, nope, no, 3 times nothing. 4 times, oh wait, I already have 4 here. So sometimes you're going to be asked to list factors. It's not just one number. Most of the time when I say what are the factors, I want a whole long list of all the possible factors to make that product. So let's try one. Find the factors of 20. One strategy is to kind of guess and check your way there. Well, I know 4 times 5 makes 20. What else do I know? A nice way to stay organized is to create something called a factor rainbow. So to make a factor rainbow, I'm going to write my product at the top. I like to use lots of colors because rainbows are colorful. I think math should be colorful too, but it's okay if you just want to use your pencil. And then I'm going to start at the beginning. Well, every product has a factor of 1. I know that 1 times my product will equal my product. So if I have 20 as a factor as well. So 1 and 20. Notice how I put a lot of space between them. That's because I'm hoping there are other factors and I'll put them in order from least to greatest. So I know that 1 is going to be my least factor, my smallest one, and 20 is going to be my greatest factor. I like to connect them so that I remember it's 1 times 20 that makes 20. What else? Well, 2, let's check. Does 2 times something make 20? Yep, 2 times 10. So I'm going to connect those as well. And don't forget to separate your list. This might confuse people and say 12. 12 is a factor of 20? No, not 12. Oops. So just put a comma between your numbers so that I know that this isn't 1020, but it's really 10 and also 20 are factors. So then I'm going to keep going up. I'm going to check. I know 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, is 3 a factor? If I can't think off the top of my head, I can go off and say, well, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Nope, not 20. So I'm going to skip over 3. How about 4s? 4, 8. We've already practiced listing multiples, so if you need to list multiples that you're checking, you can. I know that 4, I'm going to switch to a fun color, 4 times 5 has a product of 20. I'm going to connect them right there. And then I would keep going up my list. Well, 4, the next number is 5. Oh, hey, look, I already have 5. I've kind of crossed over the line of symmetry of my rainbow, and that's one way for me to know I'm done listing all the factors. So if it says find the factors of 20, you would write a list that say 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20 are all factors of 20. Now don't get confused with multiples of 20. We know multiples of 20 would be 20 times 1 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. Those are different. Factors are generally smaller than or equal to our product, whereas multiples were equal to or greater than the number we started with. So different numbers will have different numbers of factors. 20 had a good number of factors. 20 is what's called a composite number. Composite numbers have more than 2 unique or different factors. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unique or different numbers in my list. So that means 20 is a composite number. Let's try another one. Find the factors of 25. Okay, so I'd start with my product, 25, at the top of my rainbow. I always know that 1 times the product is going to equal the product, so my factors are 1 and 25. I'm going to connect those so that, oopsie, I know that they are a factor pair. That means that if I multiply them together, I'll get my product. What else? I'm going to check. Put a comma, 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh, wait. This 5 means 25 is an odd number, so 2 is not going to be a factor. Okay, moving on. 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 20. No, not 25. Not 25. 25 is not a multiple of 3. So I'm going to try 4. 4, 8, 16, 20, 24. Nope, not close, but not it. 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Ooh, yes. 5 times 5. Okay, so we would write it like this. These are my 3 distinct or unique factors. The way I think about it is you can't be your own partner. 5 is just going to kind of sit in the middle. If it helps you to draw like a little, hey, it's 5 times 5, baby middle of your rainbow, you can. But when I list the factors of 25, I only want distinct factors. So I'm only going to list the 5 one time. In my head, I have to know that 5 times 5 equals 25. But I'm not going to list 1, 5, 5, 25. That's not what I'm going to do. Now I see 1, 2, 3 distinct factors. That means 25 is also composite. Some of us might remember that there are composite numbers and then there are also prime numbers. We're going to talk more about composite versus prime tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you a heads up on that vocabulary. Okay, now what's a common factor? Well, like common multiples, common means that you are going to have more than one number that we're looking at, like factors of 20 and factors of 25. I would look for a factor that they have in common. Well, here's my list of factors of 20, and here's my list of factors of 25. A common factor is one that is in common in both lists. So here, the only common factor I have is 5. Now what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at factors, and then we're also going to be looking for the greatest common factor. In this example, 5 is the only common factor, so by default it has to be our greatest, which means our biggest. Greatest common factor you will often see as just GCF. In this, between 20 and 25, our greatest common factor is 5. So if you see a problem that says find the GCF or find the greatest common factor of 2 or sometimes maybe more than 2, 3, 4 numbers, your job first is just like when we listed all of the multiples or the first few multiples when we're finding the least common multiple, we're going to list all the factors because unlike multiples where we had an infinite number, we have a finite or a specific number of factors for each of these products. So I'm going to start by listing my factors of each product. Here are my factors of 10, here are my factors of 25. I look for any number they have in common. Oh, again, this one only has 1, it's 5. Let's try one that has more than one common factor. Let's try this one. Find the greatest common factor of 50 and 100. So step number 1, I'm going to find all the factors of 50. So I have 50, I'm going to start thinking about, well, I know that 50 times 1, I'm going to make myself a lot of room because I think that there might be a lot. 1 times 50 equals 50. Now I'm going to check 2. Does 2 times something? Yep, 2 times 25. How about 3? 3 times... if you're stuck, remember you can list your multiples of 3, but 3 does not work. It's not a factor of 50, so I'm going to move on to 4. 4 times anything? Nope. 5, yes, 5 times 10 is 50. Connecting. How about 6? Think about your multiples of 6. Nope, that doesn't work. How about 7? Nope, no multiples of 7 are equal to 50. How about 8? Again, no. 9, no. 10, oh, I've already got 10 on my list. I've crossed over to the other side of the rainbow. That must be my whole list. I'm going to do the same thing with 100. 100 is my product. I know 1 times 100 equals 100. I know 2 times 50 equals 100. I know 3 times, nope, that would have to be a fractional amount. How about 4? Yes, 4 times 25. 5, yes, 5 times 20. So you really want to give yourself a lot of space because you can see I'm starting to run out and that's not good. 6 times anything? No. 7 times anything? No. 8? No. 9? No. 10? Yeah, 10 times 10. Remember, I'm only going to write 10 once. I can connect it, but you shouldn't be writing the same number over and over again because those aren't distinct factors. Okay, so now I have my lists. I'm going to look for common factors. 1 is in both lists. 2, a factor of both numbers. 5 is a factor of both numbers. 10 is in both lists. 25 is in both lists. And so it's 50. So we have lots of common factors here. But we are looking for the greatest common factor. Remember, greatest means biggest. What's the biggest number on both lists? That would be 50. So my greatest common factor is 50. That's what we should be doing today. And now you can go do your student practice.